Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking. All right, so as you guys come in, please make sure that you smash the like button out. Help your boy out with that. Also, make sure that you share the video out, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, make sure that you hit the bell. All right. Got my man DJ Elmo in the building early. What up with it, DJ Elmo? Good to see you. Got my man Terrence Jackson in the building. My man Adrian Hicks says, let's get into this conversation. Vlad is one culture vulture that needs to be regulated to the scrap heap of history. If you guys agree with Adrian Hicks, throw some radiation emojis in the comment section. If you don't, comment with why you don't agree. But I agree 110% with my man Adrian Hicks. So somebody throw a radiation emoji in the chat for me as well. Got my man AB Promotions in the building, and here we go. My man Alonzo Griffin, what up with it? Good to see you as always. All right. So I'm going to try to run through this real quick because I got a short time frame. So I apologize. All right. We're going to talk about a news story real quick, and then we're definitely going to get into this. All right. Because I don't know if you guys heard, but Vlad is saying some things that we already know. But my issue with Vlad saying some things that we already know is that Gunna already has the heat on him. Whether you agree with what he did or whether you disagree with what he did, it is not healthy for a person to be in the street culture and have that kind of heat on them. Now, is Is Gunna responsible? Yes. Nobody made him do what he did, right? But when you have somebody from the outside who's not living that life, that person should get the same critique as the person who's considered to have gone, quote unquote, against the street code. Vlad has gone against the street code many times. He's landed many people in the courtroom. A lot of his interviews with Casanova, if you guys haven't seen my live stream about Casanova, take a moment, go back and watch it. It's called The Rap to Prison Pipeline. I mean, basically, it foretold all of these things that we see happening today. All right. Also, if you guys haven't checked out me and Just Talking with TD, Just Talking with TD and Rob, our video about Gunna, make sure you guys go and check that out. Also, my man TD Hip Hop Media just watched a video or just made a video about this. Make sure you guys check that video out as well. All right. But before we get into that, I got to tell you guys about this. All right. I seen this and I'm like, man, this is terrible. All right. CPS records show boy was found dead in washing machine and that he had a tough life from birth. All right. So the prosecutor said Tiffany and Jermaine Thomas had a deep hatred for their adopted son. Now, here's my question. If you hate your adopted son, why would you adopt him? Shout out to Ronnie. What up with it? Why would you adopt a kid if you have a deep hatred? You know what I'm saying? CPS records show the child may have tried to cover for them when he was hurt. Look at that little boy, man. Look at that poor little boy. You know what I'm saying? Who does this kind of nonsense? Look at this. I'm going to pause that for a quick second. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Also, make sure that you guys hit that bell. All right. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you already know what to do. And also make sure you check out the backup channels. And also make sure you guys go and check out Just Talking with TD and Rob. All right. We got the video that we just dropped about Skip and Shannon Sharp. That's doing real good. So make sure you guys check that video out. Watch it all the way through to the end. Hit those links at the end of the video. Help move that video up, you know what I'm saying, so we can grow that channel, all right? So watch this, y'all. This is terrible.
Night that may show just how badly the system failed to protect a little boy who was allegedly killed by his adoptive parents.
A new report shows there were signs 7-year-old Troy Kohler was being abused months before his death.
Marcelina Benito is taking a closer look and asking experts what went wrong. Marcelino.
Well, Ron and Mia, the details in this report are horrific. CPS had multiple chances to potentially save this child. And even more frustrating tonight, the state refusing to talk with us about what went wrong and what's to stop it from happening again to another child.
Man, please smash that like button. Please share this out. Please let the light be shined on these pieces of crap parents that did this to this poor, innocent little boy who already was adopted, and he had, you know, he was already facing disadvantages. And the state's not cooperating because they dropped the ball, man. Please share this story out because you know the mainstream media ain't going to do it.
7-year-old Troy Kohler's abuse started at the hands of his biological mother.
This kid from birth has never had a break.
CPS abuse reports detail how Troy was born with opiates in his system. His biological mother admitted to drug use during the pregnancy. His mother agreed to help from the state. But after Troy was hospitalized, CPS removed him from his biological parents' custody. He ended up in a foster home before being adopted by Tiffany and Jermaine Thomas.
What you see is a case of a child who's fallen through the cracks.
Troy's life wouldn't get better. In January 2022, CPS received a report of Troy having bruising around his eyes. 2 months prior to that, he had a black eye his adoptive mother blamed on a fall. CPS also noted a burn mark on his back that parents claimed happened at a family gathering in 2020. CPS ultimately decided he was safe and closed the case.
I think the warning signs, right, over and over and over, there were reports.
Only 2 months later, CPS received another report, this time more bruising on his face, a fingernail imprint on his neck, a scratch on his cheek, and redness around his eyes. When questioned, Troy offered different explanations, but never blamed adults. His adoptive parents offered different excuses for the injuries too. A pediatrician treated the redness around his eyes by prescribing allergy medicine. CPS closed the case again, deciding Troy was, quote, safe.
It's alarming that they let this go. And when you see that they thought at certain times this kid was safe, he was never safe.
3 months later, Troy was found dead in a washing machine at his parents' home. Prosecutors say his adopted dad, Jermaine, drowned him and hit him with an object.
The authorities were warned that this kid was in danger, yet nothing happened.
Bob Sanborn, CEO of Children at Risk, says the system failed again. Troy's face is the one that made the news, but so many other children meeting similar fates.
As a state, we claim to care about kids, but when we see these deaths happening, it begs the question, do we really care about our kids?
Sanborn says there is plenty of blame to go around, and not just CPS, but statewide leadership and those inadequately funding agencies meant to protect our children.
When you see it over and over again like this, this is an alarm that we need to be taking this serious and do something about it.
Now, we requested an interview with the director of Texas's Department of Family and Protective Services, but we're told they are not doing interviews on this case. We will keep pushing. As for Tiffany and Jermaine Thomas, they are both due back in court in February.
All right, so now here it says a Children's Protective Services report obtained by KHOU News paints a heartbreaking picture of the life of a little boy found dead in his family's spring home. The battered body of 7-year-old, he's only 7, Troy Kohler, was found in a washing machine in July after his parents reported him missing. So my question for you guys is, did you guys hear about this story? Shout out to Carla. What up with it, Carla? If you guys heard about this story, give me a thumbs up. If you guys did not hear about this story, give me a thumbs down. All right. So now here it says Jermaine and Tiffany Thomas, his adoptive parents, were arrested and charged on November 15th after Troy's death was ruled a homicide. He's charged with capital murder and she's charged with injury to a child by omission. Sheriff Ed Gonzalez said an autopsy showed that Troy suffered new and old injuries before his body was found. Court documents revealed the horror the child endured before his death. They included text messages that said the mother threatened to put him in the oven and the father threatened to hang him from a tree. Even so, CPS records showed Troy may have covered for his parents when the caseworkers asked him about past injuries, man. CPS timeline on Troy Kohler. So I'm gonna put the link to this story in the chat because I'm about to get really irritated. You know what I'm saying? Actually, I don't think I can, but you guys see the title of it. The kid's name was Troy Kohler. I'll put this actually in the I'll put the link to this in the description box of this live stream. You know what I'm saying? But I can't listen to stories like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't do that. Being a dad, you know what I'm saying? I raised my kids from when they were tiny little babies like that. I don't know how you could do something like that to a innocent little child. You know what I'm saying? So now, this is what I find fascinating, right? Everybody talks about this Gunna case, you know what I'm saying? And, everybody talks about the street code and stop snitching and this, that, and the other, right? But what is the street code? Now, here's the difference. Is the street code different from being on code? I don't know, because I don't know either one of them. You know what I'm saying? But what I do know is that the person that wrote an actual code book that's quoted quite often, but the actual code that he wrote isn't quoted quite often or compared to these kind of things, actually had something to say. All right. So now here's my question for you guys. Did Gunna snitch? If you guys believe that Gunna snitched, give me a thumbs up. If you guys didn't, give me a thumbs down. I actually wrote something about this on the community page. I think a bunch of you guys responded to it. If you guys see it as you're scrolling through YouTube, take a moment and read it. But here's what Neely Fuller Jr. had to say about snitching. Make sure that you guys listen. Make sure that you guys understand. And my question is Neely Fuller Jr.'s definition of snitching the same as the definition that you see these Pookies and Ray Rays on YouTube talking about? All right. And what's different from it? All right. So let me know. Did Gunna snitch? If he did, thumbs up. If he didn't, thumbs down.
The first one is stop snitching. All right. But snitching doesn't mean what has, in this world in which the white supremacists watch everything. And
now, real quick, this video comes from Hip Hop Cartoons. All right. So if you guys are not subscribed to Hip Hop Cartoons, make sure you guys go over there, subscribe that channel. You know what I'm saying? Binge watch the videos. He does little videos about Neely Fuller Jr. and other people. And it's real short, good videos to watch. You know what I'm saying? They give good information. But let's check it. Let's dissect what Neely Fuller Jr. said and apply it to what went on with Gunna or what's going on with Gunna. All right. This video here is called Stand Behind Your Work. Now, my question is Gunna or YSL standing behind their work?
The first one is stop snitching. All right. But
appreciate answering the Nightbot, Carla.
Has, you know, in this world in which the white supremacists watch everything, and they will put out something in the mind of some black person who probably is already thinking about doing someone some harm, because that's what we are taught. We're taught to glorify doing harm, not doing something constructive, but doing harm. Brag about doing harm. So many people have took the position of snitching means.
I totally agree. I totally agree, Adrian. Adrian says, I'm going to be honest. I'm just here to gain perspective. I haven't been watching this close because the whole thing is a public display of our destruction. Super facts. Super facts. That goes hand in hand, literally, with what Neely Fuller Jr. just said. If you guys agree with Adrian, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't, give me a thumbs down.
You can go out and kill people or steal somebody's car or something.
See, y'all made me shoot your stupid ass over nothing. Hey, come on, man. We supposed to be brothers. Oh, what, you trying to get smart? Nigga, are you trying to kick some knowledge? Nigga, fuck that, nigga. Give me your motherfucking jury, nigga. Take that shit off. You got a page or two. You're balling, huh? You're balling?
Or break into somebody's house.
Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you guys drop some radiation emojis for Hey Mr. Knickerbocker, who just became a YouTube member. I believe that she has been a YouTube member for a while, so she just reinstated her membership, which is awesome. If you guys can, it really helps the channel out. Make sure you guys check out Patreon. With Patreon and with the membership, not only do you get special content, you also get the full episodes of Just Talking. The membership, the lowest level, is only 99 cents. That really helps YouTube also push the channel up in the algorithm to help get more views. So if you guys can, please, somebody match Hey Mr. Knickerbocker, help your boy out. Again, it's only 99 cents. It's less than a lottery ticket. You know what I'm saying?
And if someone sees you doing it, they're not supposed to so-called snitch. No, that's not what it means. Snitching means you are going to do harm to someone unjustly. You go and inform someone about someone else to do harm to that person and harm that person unjustly. The person didn't do anything that warrants harm, but you go and carry a message to someone who is powerful about someone who is powerless, so that harm comes to the person that is powerless. That's what snitching is. Someone informing to the white supremacists on someone who is trying to do justice and telling them about something that the white supremacists can use against the person to do harm to them so that they can't help to do justice. That's what snitching is. That needs to be stopped. Passing on information. Snitching is a form of espionage. It's a form of giving information to someone who believes in doing harm to people so that they can do more harm to people who are trying to do no harm. People who are trying to do something constructive, like produce justice. And then you try to harm that person by carrying messages about that person that are harmful.
Hey, she said, let me upgrade you. Let me upgrade you.
That's what snitching means. If someone is deliberately trying to do unjust harm, you give information. That is not snitching. That's giving information, and that information should be given. No one, anyone who goes out here and carjacks someone and comes and hides under somebody's porch, everybody should point out where the porch is and who's hiding under it.
Now, let me ask you guys a question. Is the definition of snitching that Neely Fuller Jr. is talking about, is that the same thing that everybody online who's calling Gunna a snitch is talking about? See, this is something that's very different. Did you guys hear what Neely Fuller Jr. said? If somebody is going to commit somebody unjust harm, then that people should be told about it. Now, my question is that the situation that YSL is in? I agree with Terrence. If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Oh, okay, that's what's up. Hey, I appreciate that. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker, because that definitely helps the channel. You know what I'm saying? So definitely appreciate it. Shout out everybody. Show some love to all the members in the building. You know what I'm saying? Give me some radiation emojis for all the green.
If someone is deliberately trying to do unjust harm, you give information. That is not snitching. That's
Shout out to Mike.
information, and that information should be given. No one, anyone who goes out here and carjacks someone and comes and hides on somebody's porch, everybody should point out where the porch is and who's hiding under it. If you have nerve enough and you think you're tough enough and you think you got enough going for you to take somebody's vehicle and shoot them in the head and then go and try to hide, the very fact that you ran and tried to hide means you don't deserve anything. You gave up everything right there. There's a slogan. It's not in the code book, but it's one that will be in the next editions. Stand by your work. In other words, whatever you do, stand by your work.
Now, here's my question. Did Gunna and YSL and Young Thug, out of all three of them, are they standing by their work? When you put out messages, portray yourself as a certain way, contribute to chaos, violence, and harm. But now you're saying that none of that stuff is true. Are any of these hip hop rappers who perpetuate these messages, are they in court standing behind their work? The statement that you heard Gunna read to that attorney, did he stand behind his work? Let me know.
If you're a carjacker, you're a gangbanger. If you're a person that likes to do harm to people, you want to rob some old lady on a bus stop, don't run. Stand there and say, yes, I did it. And the reason I did it is because I'm supposed to do it. Because that's what I do.
Is that what YSL is saying? Is that what Gunna's saying? Is that what Young Thug saying? I didn't hear Young Thug tell that district attorney, I wrote those lyrics, and I wrote those lyrics because that's what I represent. I don't care what happens as a result of those lyrics. If you give me a piece of paper and a pen, I'll write those lyrics again. He didn't say none of that.
That's my business. That's the business I have chosen, as they say in the Corleones, as they say in the movie The Godfather. This is the business we have chosen. So if this is the business you have chosen, brag about your business to the whole world, including everybody who doesn't like it. And if a whole army comes after you, you should stand there and say, bring them on, because this is the business I have chosen. I'm not running.
That's not what any of those guys say when they in court. You know what I'm saying? That's not what none of them dudes say when they in court. You feel me? Ronnie says when Ghislaine Maxwell was going to snitch, she was holding the no snitch culture down. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker says, if you don't want the time, don't do the crime. Or and don't be in the vicinity of it either. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm not hiding. Now, the very fact that you're hiding under your grandmother's porch, causing her a whole lot of misery, means you're not worth doing what you did. And you shouldn't be defended. No one should speak on your behalf, including your grandmother. Now, that should be the policy all over the world. Black people should make that rule for ourselves. And don't start talking about, well, you all shouldn't. You turn me in, you turn your back on me, and you turn your back on yourself around here terrorizing the whole neighborhood that you grew up in. You're making no sense at all. You're not logical. And think that you're going to be protected, or should be, by whom? You didn't do anything to protect the person who was trying to make it to work that morning. And you killed them.
Facts, Maxima.
On their way to work. And took that $20. And considered yourself Superman. Well, now, if you consider yourself Superman, save yourself, Superman, from anybody that doesn't like it, meaning a whole army if it comes after you. Don't run from them, run to them. And prove that you're super. When you run down the alley, trying to find a place to hide in a trash bin, you just gave yourself away as not being very much to you. And you know it. You don't have to wait for anybody to tell you that. You know that. So who are you trying to kid, yourself? That's a decision. And that's under that 10 stops.
Yes.
See about that snitching thing. No, nobody's snitching on you. Did you do anything that you shouldn't have done?
Did any of those guys do anything that they shouldn't have done? Let me know in the comment section. Shout out to Val, and shout out to Maxima. What's good with y'all? Shout out to my man Mike Mellis John. This is my man Lito's YouTube channel, Hip Hop Cartoons. If y'all not subscribed, make sure that y'all subscribe. He does all these animations on his own. You know what I'm saying?
If anybody tells it, they didn't snitch. They gave constructive information. That's what that's called. Because you are not entitled to any protection at all. Once you start running, you should keep running as long as you can find something to step on, because you should be welcome nowhere on the planet. Who should welcome you?
Oh, the guy talking, that's Neely Fuller Jr. Shout out to Tammy Dorsey. What up with it, Tammy?
Stop and think about it. Who should welcome you? Who should open a door for you anywhere after you do something like that? Shoot somebody 5 times in the head just to take their car to go joyriding. Absolutely not. The code says that once you do something like that and realize that you did it, if you suddenly snapped, then you have an obligation to do one thing. Shoot yourself. 5 times in the head if you can. End of that story. Nothing else less than that. That's all you're entitled to. You take somebody away from here deliberately and unjustly, you're supposed to go yourself as soon as possible. Why? Why go yourself? To apologize. You don't apologize to the people later on in court. The person that you killed is not there. That's who you apologize to. And there's one way to do that. You go where they went. A nice, cozy grave. Now that I've been saying in the last 5 minutes or so should be repeated all over the world. No, you don't do harm to people and then think that somebody's supposed to cover for you. You are absolutely insane for your mind to even go in that direction. You cover for yourself. If you're big enough to do it, stand by your work. If anybody else is even caught and accused of doing what you did, you should say, wait a minute, you got the wrong person. I did that. I stand by my work. I don't run and hide. And if I get a chance, I'll do it again, because that's what I do. That's why I did it the first time. You think I don't know what I'm doing? I know what I'm doing. This is the business I have chosen.
I agree. If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down.
That's the way you're supposed to talk. Now, if you can't talk that way, don't do it. Because part of the code says nobody's supposed to cover for you. I mean, that nonsense should stop. That's the way to stop it.
And see, Neely Fuller Jr. is so adamant about this, I think, in my opinion, because, I mean, everybody sees the kind of destruction, the kind of no accountability, and just the kind of chaos and perpetual issues that this kind of thing causes as an element of what a lot of people do. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, there's a whole rap to prison pipeline that people just keep going through. You know what I'm saying? So if you see these patterns continue to happen and you continue to do the same thing, you can't be surprised when those results occur repeatedly. You know what I mean?
That's the way to stop it. We should set the benchmark for universal man and universal woman, and none of that stuff should ever happen. We should pioneer that. The white supremacists have already showed us all different kinds of ways to mistreat people. We shouldn't be no part of any of that. Don't write any more songs about it.
See, he said don't write any more songs about it. So this directly applies to that situation. Don't write any more songs about it.
We shouldn't be no part of any of that. Don't write any more songs about it.
Now, where did they get a lot of the information from that landed them in the courtroom? Here we go. Season 400, life on repeat. Unless the song is I Did What I Did. Right. And the guy that was involved in that song is not a criminal. You know what I'm saying? Terrence says they're still writing the songs. Yeah, and they'll continue because, you know, they're in that business.
Don't write any more songs about it.
So, I mean, again, like Neely Fuller is warning about this, right? He's warning, don't write any more songs about it. People keep writing songs about it. What ends up happening as a result? People end up dead. People end up in court. People end up in jail. You know what I'm saying? Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed that like button, please make sure that you guys smash that like button. Also, if you guys have not shared the video out, please help your boy out by sharing the video. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, take a moment, hit that bell icon. All right. That definitely helps the channel. And I got to agree with AB, the music. Do you think that it influences people? And shout out to DJ Elmo and Carla for answering the Nightbot. Definitely appreciate it.
We shouldn't be no part of any of that. Don't write any more songs about it. Write some songs about treating people the way people ought to be treated. After you get used to it, you'll like it.
So there it is right there. You know what I'm saying? And Lido put this little slide in the end where you can get the book. United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept. All right. So, you know, there's that. All right. So the next thing is, I don't know if you guys ever heard of this guy named Bruce Rivers, but he's a attorney. All right. And he's got a YouTube channel. And I think it's pretty interesting. He kind of broke down the Alfred plea and the thing that Gunna did in court. And I think he gives a real good explanation. He kind of says things similar to what I was saying, but I just want to see what you guys think about this. And I agree. DJ Elmo says some responsibility lies with Black consumers who actively buy the music like drill music and other low vibration music. Facts. And the people that perpetuate that element of the music. You know what I'm saying? Like DJ Academics. You know what I'm saying? So let's check this out real quick.
Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, board-certified criminal defense lawyer, and that means that I am board-certified tried, tested, true. I'm a criminal defense lawyer and I'm a trial lawyer. It's what I do. But before we get into what we have breaking news here, and I guess it's kind of breaking news since yesterday.
There's a really important piece of this that he brings up that I didn't think about that was really interesting. And this is one of those things that only somebody who does this as their career or somebody that has formal training in this kind of thing would do. So I'm actually glad that I came across this video. I kind of alluded to this, but because I'm not a lawyer, because I don't have training in this, I didn't know how to describe it professionally, which doesn't help anyway, because, I don't think anybody that watches me is a lawyer, so they probably wouldn't have been able to understand it anyway. But he gives a good breakdown of it and makes you be able to understand exactly what the impact is. All right. So when we get to that part, I'm going to stop and we're going to discuss that. We're going to break that down. All right.
On the YSL RICO case. But before we get to that, this episode, like all of our episode, is brought to you by eforms.com. That's eforms.com. eforms.com. So let's say you have an ex-girlfriend and she just won't leave you alone. And she's living in your basement.
All right, hold on. I'm going to try to go past this this promotion real quick. Let me see. Damn, that eForms thing is real long. Hold on real quick. Okay, here we go.
Kitchens. Sergio Kitchens, as you know, was a high-ranking YSL member. And he pled guilty yesterday in open court. And then he was released from jail. So let's talk about what a plea is first. A plea is when you all of a sudden say, hey, look, I'm guilty. There's two parts to a plea. There's a waiver of your rights because you have a right to a trial. And there's a whole bunch of rights. You have a right to testify, cross-examine witnesses, blah, blah, blah. So you have to waive all those rights first. Then there's what's called a factual basis. And that's what we're going to show you here. Factual basis, that's where you have to admit that you committed a crime. You cannot enter a plea and not admit you did something wrong. So let's see what the judge has to say, and the prosecutor in this case.
Please state after statement whether or not you agree or acknowledge that statements are true, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the factual basis. Basically, you got to admit to what you're doing or what you did. That makes you guilty.
I became affiliated with YSL around 2016. Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
I became affiliated. So he all of a sudden acknowledges YSL as a gang.
YSL is a music label and a gang, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance of the gang.
Yes, ma'am.
So he admitted not only that YSL is a music label, but it's also a gang, and that he and others committed crimes in furtherance of YSL.
You were present when law enforcement officers stopped the vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocodone, methamphetamines, and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
So you were with Young Thug when you had some drugs and guns in the car. Oh, and by the way, none of that shit was yours, right? Okay. Oh, who says it? Oh, I guess it must have been the other guy. Fucking A.
I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly further.
Right. No, I agree, AB. Now, when it comes to that street code, when it comes to that street culture, right? Because what Neely Fuller Jr. gave was the definition that people who are trying to live a productive life should use as far as quote unquote no snitching. But when it comes to street code, when it comes to street degeneracy, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if you can really call street a culture because it's, you know, it's associated with criminality. This is what those people consider snitching. You know what I'm saying? And we have an actual lawyer here breaking that down. So there's still one more part, though, that's extremely important that I want to make sure that you guys see.
YSL the gang to the detriment of my community. YSL as a gang must end. Is that your statement or acknowledgement?
Yes.
YSL as a gang must end. I deeply regret. First of all, that you don't need that for a plea. She wanted that for some reason. That's the prosecutor that's standing up talking right now.
So now, as you guys can see, that last part that he did, according to this lawyer here, that wasn't necessary. He didn't have to say that part. So I find that interesting. What do you guys think the purpose of the prosecutor adding that part in was?
There's been a lot of talk the Twitter sphere and the atmosphere and the cybersphere about whether or not Gunna is snitching. Well, they got a trial coming up, and now he just admitted in open court all these different things. Now, Gunna's lawyer, if you look on here, it says Gunna did not snitch to get out of jail. He has said nothing and is not cooperating. He just admitted.
Facts, DJ Elmo.
His plea statement cannot be used in court against any other defendant. Not true. So
now, see, I was just about to go into that, but he goes into it. So keep that in mind, Maxima, right? He didn't outright say who it belongs to, but what he did was through process of elimination and through logical deduction, you can figure out who's guilty based on what he said. Because if there was two people in the car and his sworn testimony is that he didn't have it, that automatically implies that the other person had it because there was nobody else in the car. And then also when he testifying changes the situation of the information given. It changes the categorization of it from hearsay to personal testimony, which is important. And he's going to break that down. So this is interesting. You know what I'm saying? I bet you, I'm sure his lawyer, I'm sure Gunna's lawyer explained that to him, but by his own testimony of himself, that converts the situation from hearsay to like evidence that can be used. You know what I'm saying?
Here it says Gunna did not snitch to get out of jail. He has said nothing and is not cooperating. He just admitted in open court. His plea statement cannot be used in court against any other defendant. Not true. So pay
very close attention to that. Not true. Because all they have to do is say, we have a sworn testimony by the person that was in the car who says that the drugs and guns weren't his. You and him were the only person in the car. You see, so by Gunna saying what he said, he converted the situation from speculation to now we have a piece of evidence that removes one individual, and there's only one individual left. You see what I'm saying? Does that make any sense? Yeah, I agree. And what you will find, Maxima, is that the lawyer says the same thing. We won't know for sure until right before court. So I agree. The story's definitely not over. We won't know until we actually know if he does end up showing up in court or not, or how much the prosecution decides to use the little bits of information that he gave. You know what I'm saying? Now, that's a good question. I think he actually goes into that, but I'm not sure.
Stop spreading lies. Let's just break this down because people want to know if he's a snitch or not. I can honestly tell you that I don't know if he's snitching or not. His lawyer says he's not cooperating, but that's what he's going to say.
So now, again, this is a lawyer who's looked at this, and according to the lawyer, he says he doesn't know if he's a snitch or not. Okay? So now, again, you have a bunch of people online, a bunch of rappers and a bunch of other people who are, literally like saying this stuff. And the thing is that it's not over yet. Like, we don't know. Now, it seems that way because he gave up information, but we don't know how that information is going to be used. You know what I'm saying? And right. I agree, Maxima, and he actually goes on to say that. So see, these are a lot of the reasons why you don't want to find yourself in this kind of situation. You know what I'm saying? Because there's all of these legal loopholes, and when something is said under oath versus when something is said in an investigation room, things can be misconstrued and value of statements changes, and that's a fact, Terrence. Street court doesn't wait for evidence. You know what I'm saying? And I agree 110%. If you guys agree with Maxima, give me a thumbs up. They don't know the law, and that's how people get hurt. Facts. But now here's what I find fascinating. People are more upset about what goes on in court than the actions that were taken that landed people in the court. If we didn't rap about criminality and if people that you were around didn't involve themselves in criminality, in most cases, it could be assumed that you would have a lower likelihood of being in court. Nobody has an issue with that, at least in the content that I've watched. Nobody's saying, well, you know, if these guys weren't such degenerates, you know what I'm saying, they wouldn't even be in this situation. Nobody's saying that. Everybody's more upset about them being in court and their conduct in court. You know what I mean?
You wouldn't have any document to show that he's cooperating. But can his statement be used against somebody else in their trial? Well, let's analyze that. Unless there's a specific agreement to not have that be used in another person's trial, it can be. Why can't it be? Because it's an admission against penal interest. That is not hearsay. Otherwise, it would.
Now, see, now that's the part right there. It's he converted his information from hearsay to an admission. That increases the value of it, and that increases the utilization of it by the prosecution. All right. And shout out to Carla for answering that Nightbot. If that makes sense, if you guys understand that, give me a thumbs up in the comment section. If you don't, give me a thumbs down.
Please stop spreading lies. Let's just break this down because people want to know if he's a snitch or not. I can honestly tell you that I don't know if he's snitching or not. His lawyer says he's not cooperating, but that's what he's going to say. You wouldn't have any document to show that he's cooperating. But can his statement be used against somebody else in their trial? Well, let's analyze that. Unless there's a
facts, super facts. Maxima says that's always the case. Never get mad at what happened before court. And that's the issue. And I think that that's something that needs to change. That's something that people need to be more adamant at holding people accountable for. Well, how'd you wind up in court in the first place? We all know that some situations, especially living in the system, can have extenuating circumstances, but knowing that those extenuating circumstances exist, that should be even more motivation to try to keep yourself out of a situation where you would be here in the court's crosshairs. You know what I'm saying?
a specific agreement to not have that be used in another person's trial. It can be. Why can't it be? Because it's an admission against penal interest. That is not hearsay. Otherwise, it would be a hearsay statement. But when you make a statement under oath and you inculpate yourself, that means you point the finger at yourself that you did something wrong. That's a statement against interest. That is not hearsay, and that absolutely can be used in a trial against Young Thug.
Now, do you guys understand that? So now his self-testimony could possibly, we don't know if it will be, but it could possibly, it has the potential, and it can be used against Young Thug and YSL, okay? So now, if that makes any sense, give me a thumbs up. If it doesn't make any sense, give me a thumbs down. So now, the thing is that what I find fascinating is that I don't think people even want to understand the law. I don't think people really want to understand what's going on here. And I don't think that people, this whole situation really shows what we're up against. And the reason why I say that is because the degenerates of the street culture literally have no investment or no intention on attempting to improve anything. So that's always going to be a barricade in any kind of upward mobility that we kind of try to move. I mean, if you pay attention and look at the people that are doing the content on this, I mean, they look like they'll be in court next week, and they sound like it, talk like it, flash guns, and do everything else. You know what I'm saying? So, like, my question is, how are you supposed to improve when people are on that particular page? You see what I'm saying? We're listening to somebody who's a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? We've watched multiple news reports with multiple legal analysis. Most of it has all said the same thing. You know what I'm saying? And if you watch any of these videos, if you listen to all these other rappers give commentary on it, I mean, people are listening to people who have only ever been in court as a defendant, as if they're a $200 an hour legal counsel. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Tarek. What up with it, bro? So Maxima says, in my opinion, this is on more than what Alpo did back then, except there was no conspiracy. He was actually guilty. Yeah. Terrence says, ninjas love not to know. And I mean, honestly, like, that's evident. That is what the evidence sadly shows. Another thing is that people just want to have something to talk about instead of actually trying to learn from the situation. I mean, to me, if you were going to continue to live the street life, or if you're in the street life, or if you're thinking about the street life, watching this case, watching this trial can help you with your playbook of not getting caught. But like the degenerates who are making the content about this, the degenerates who are part of this, you know what I'm saying? They're not even attempting to learn. They're not attempting to do anything. You know what I'm saying? Other than probably be the next ones in court. Here's my question. This situation here, how is this helping with anything? You know what I'm saying? My even better question. Is this helping with anything?
Not cooperating, but that's what he's going to say. You wouldn't have any document to show that he's cooperating. But can his statement be used against somebody else in their trial? Well, let's analyze that. Unless there's a specific agreement to not have that be used in another person's trial, it can be. Why can it be? Because it's an admission against penal interest. That is not hearsay. Otherwise, it would be a hearsay statement. But when you make a statement under oath and you inculpate yourself, that means you point the finger at yourself so you did something wrong. That's a statement against interest. That is not hearsay, and that absolutely can be used in a trial against Young Thug. Now, these are extremely serious charges. Kitchens was released from jail on Wednesday, that's yesterday, and his lawyer said he's been held without bail in advance of trial, which is supposed to start in January. This guilty plea was an important development in one of the two sprawling Atlanta criminal cases targeting what prosecutors say are a pair of feuding gangs that have committed dozens of shootings and other violent crimes since 2015. Further says that Kitchens entered an Alfred plea, which allows defendants to maintain their innocence while pleading guilty. So here's the plea agreement. I agreed to perform 500 hours of community service, a substantial portion of which will require that I speak to young men and women about the hazards and the immorality of gangs and gang violence and the decay that it causes in our community. I agree that the community service locations shall be determined by the Iowas, blah, blah, blah. I will possess no guns during the term of this sentence or any time. And he got 5 years commuted down to 1 for time served. So he's out and doesn't have to do any more time. Then you have the acknowledgments that we just saw. And if he violates the plea agreement, the district attorney can and will use the statement during any judicial proceedings. Any violation of this plea agreement shall result in full revocation of his suspended sentence. So he's got, I think, 5 years hanging over his head. So people are talking about whether he's a snitch or not. Whether he's a snitch or not, we won't know until Thug's trial.
Boom. Now, here's my question. Do you guys agree with what this lawyer just said? This is what I've been saying. Now, he gave information about himself, but the information about himself could be used in a negative way in the trial. However, quote unquote, is this snitching? It looks like it, but we won't know until we see more of the trial. Now, if somebody asks a different question and they say, did he give information? Yes, he gave information. Now, in some circles, in some places, giving any information is what people consider snitching. Again, we have to see how effective that stuff is. And we also have to see what the defense's plan is. And we also have to see what the plaintiffs, the state, the prosecution's plan is. And he can't have a gun. Right, Carla? Pay attention to that. Now, the thing that's crazy is that being in this situation, with this being in the public eye, he might need to have a gun because I guarantee you people are going to try to come at him. I think that that's one of the reasons why they made it as part of his agreement that he has to stay away. He has to stay away from YSL and Young Thug. Everybody knows what happens to snitches in the street culture, and they've taken away his ability to protect himself. He can't have any guns. Is this a situation that anybody would want to be in? It's not a good situation, man. This is bad. And it's in the public eye. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, if he wants to maximize his survival chances, that would probably be a very smart thing to do. Tarek says maybe he should just hire a bodyguard service then. I agree. But a lot of times when you're dealing with these people and these rappers, his ego is probably already going to be damaged, you know what I'm saying, from the realization that people are looking at him like a snitch. And then that's one of the things that a lot of these rappers get off on is saying, well, you know, I'm here, no security. I'm here, no bodyguard. They really going to be going in on Gunna if he's being seen with bouncers and bodyguards. So my question is it likely that he'll do that? This is just a really, really bad situation that I would never, there's not a paycheck big enough that to have me want to be in this situation.
Actually, we might know just a little bit before that, because my guess is that if he did snitch, the state would have to disclose that and disclose the witness's statement shortly before trial. But it isn't going to be much before trial, because he would have a target on his back, no question in my mind, if he decides to snitch. But
see, the lawyer is saying the same thing.
This attorney can and will use the statement during any judicial proceedings. Any violation of this plea agreement shall result in full revocation of his suspended sentence. So he's got, I think, 5 years hanging over his head. So people are talking about whether he's a snitch or not. Whether he's a snitch or not, we won't know until Thug's trial. Actually, we might know just a little bit before that, because my guess is that if he did snitch, the state would have to disclose that.
So now pay very close attention to how all of the people involved in the quote unquote street culture are literally going around declaring him a snitch, right? Now, this guy is a lawyer who makes YouTube videos, right? So he doesn't have any interest one way or the other. Actually, he might actually have interest. You know what I'm saying? But according to what he's saying, it remains to be seen if he's a snitch. Now, a lot of times when it comes to this kind of situation, depending on who you're dealing with, depending on what you're dealing with, a lot of people ain't going to let you live to find out if you're going to snitch. If you're in that situation, it's eliminate the risks. I agree 110%. Adrian says, better idea. How about he count his money, call it a good run, and sit his ass down somewhere? If you guys agree with Adrian, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. I agree wholehearted. Boy, go sit your ass down somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
And disclose the witness's statement shortly before trial. But it isn't going to be much before trial, because he would have a target on his back, no question in my mind, if he decides to snitch. But here's the other thing. Whether Gunna's a snitch or not, fuck that. Who cares? Because there's 20 other people or 27 other people who are charged in this indictment, right? And so I guarantee you they've got snitches that are going to be coming out of the woodwork. Whether Gunna is snitching or not is sort of immaterial, because I guarantee you they have more than one snitch. Your case will not just be based upon Gunna's word and Gunna's word alone. They're going to have corroboration through cell phone, through text messages, through evidence seized in searches. And
so now this is what I find fascinating, and he brings up a good point. But again, pay very close attention to how, if you watch, you know, people on YouTube and people in the street culture, they're not talking about any of that. The focus is solely on Gunna. Now, what I find fascinating about what this lawyer is saying is he's saying, as of right now, we don't know if Gunna is technically a snitch, right? But even if Gunna did snitch, there's 27 people and a lot of different evidence that's going to be drawn from. So what Gunna said would probably be immaterial. If what Gunna said would probably be immaterial per what a defense lawyer is saying, then why is so much focus on Gunna? If you ask me, I think the focus is on Gunna so much because of the type of lyrics and the type of way that Gunna portrayed himself. I think a lot of the reason why the focus is on Gunna is because of the character that he developed for himself to be portrayed as. So if you portray yourself as a certain character, the world is going to expect you to uphold your portrayal. So again, it's another situation where the world is correct. after you've created a reputation and after you've created this propaganda around yourself of being this particular person, and then when you're in the situation where that particular person is supposed to be noted and it doesn't show up, the world realizes that they were just given a hologram, and now you have to face the backlash. And I think that when it comes to the backlash, that's more of what we're seeing. And and because we're dealing with quote unquote street culture, it's being disseminated as Gunna quote unquote being a snitch, which basically equals Gunna quote unquote not being what he said he was in the songs. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys agree with that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down and shout out. Make sure you guys drop some radiation emoji for my man AB Promotions. Follow them instructions. Please make sure that you guys hit that like button. All right, smash that like button. And I agree. I gotta agree with DJ Elmo. They should have listened to Randy Crawford's song Street Life and MF Doom Rap Snitches. Facts. You know what I'm saying? And I agree, Maxima. And that's exactly what this lawyer just said. No case of this magnitude is ever built on just one person telling. They have all they need to move forward once they put cuffs on you. And I mean, honestly, also in addition to that, you know, we're dealing with a corrupt system. So I mean, when it comes to all they need, I mean, all they need is basically, you know, just to have those authoritative positions to where they can manipulate whatever they want to too. You know what I'm saying?
And snitch testimony. Now, his trial is supposed to start on January 5th. So the timing of the new charges and the timing of the plea for Gunna is kind of, you can kind of read into it where they're going with this. So if you remember, NBA YoungBoy came up with a plan to get out of jail and an elaborate security plan and curfew and all that kind of stuff. In June, Young Thug did the same thing, but the judge denied his bond and an elaborate house arrest plan. Several factors were taken into consideration, including a threat introduced to the court attributed to Williams from 2015 that states anybody goes into courtroom and tells the God's honest truth, they'll be fucking killed.
I mean, like, why would you say that? Think about it. I want everybody to just sit back and relax. Sit back and relax. Take a nice deep breath and try to come up with why somebody would say that and put it on paper, knowing that this would show up at some point again. Now, here's my question. People are not outraged that this was put out there because this is being used in court, right? This is information that's being used in the court. So the lawyer is talking about this, but the people who are doing the commentary aren't. Whose responsibility is this right here?
Honest truth, they'll be fucking killed. That's probably a pretty good reason to keep him in custody, don't you think? When you have a situation, this is high profile as it gets in this kind of gang world. And it is, if you look at getting out with a slap on the wrist, essentially, I don't know how he's not snitching. Now, I don't want to start spreading rumors and, you know, have all my fans say Gunna's a snitch, because I don't know that he's a snitch. Sort of smells like snitch, though. But we'll find out within the next few weeks.
And see, again, the lawyer is saying the same thing as me. I mean, this looks like it, but we don't know. So here's my question. If the lawyer is saying it looks like it, but we don't know, people on the street are saying it is. So what that tells you about the situation is that the court of public opinion, the court of street opinion, the verdict has already been cast. Now, here's my question for you guys. What is the verdict that the court of the streets has placed on Gunna? That's my question.
Whether he's snitching or not. his lawyer was right in one aspect. You generally can't admit a statement of a co-defendant against another without the co-defendant being present. And we'll have to see whether the Fulton County goes with the exception that I talked about. If they don't, if it's just Thug and Gunna in the car, who's going to testify about what? And now there's an admission on the record that it wasn't Gunna's. So the implication is that it's Young Thug's.
Now, see that's what I've been saying since day one. If you guys haven't watched me and TD video about this, make sure that you guys go check that video out. Because again, the lawyer guy, he's saying the same thing that I said. He provided a logical branch for their case. Like, he assisted with the process of elimination. He might not have necessarily gave incriminating evidence against somebody else, but what he said helped them with their process of elimination, if that makes any sense. And shout out to Val and Carla for answering the Nightbot.
So we'll have to see what's going to happen here. We'll follow this in depth, but it's really interesting that he took this plea basically on the eve of trial. I think that he was feeling the heat, and they offered him a pretty good deal. But how this doesn't involve snitching, generally speaking, they don't let people out to snitch. But they might have had a weaker case against Gunna, and that could also be a valid reason why they agreed to do the plea.
And I that part, if you guys recall, when I did my video on this, and I think I also said this in me and TD's video, that's another thing that I was thinking of too, is that they might have assessed all the information and found that the information that Gunna gave is not anything that will be effective for the prosecution. So go ahead and take the plea. The only problem is because we got a bunch of idiots in the street who aren't lawyers. The only thing that they're doing is going based off rap album precedent. So if it looks like he's assisting, this could be a plan that all of the lawyers came up with together, but we don't know because we're not inside of those rooms. This is all assumptions. Again, we're going on assumptions. You see what I'm saying? And I got to agree. Maxima says street court already says he's guilty. He walked out of court. This tells Young that's watching, learn once you go in, you are not to come out for no circumstance. Facts. If you guys agree with what Maxima said, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down.
The way they did. So we'll follow this. Make sure you go to Bonfire. Don't forget Bonfire. Christmas is right around the corner. Get some merch. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. And we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
So now, what do you guys think? That's my question. What do you guys think about that? Do you guys think that lawyer did a pretty good job of breaking it down, or do you disagree with his commentary? All right. That's hilarious and true. You know what I'm saying? That's hilarious and true. So we're gonna look at academics talking about Vlad real quick. Yeah, I agree. I think that was a pretty nice job. He made it pretty easy to understand. You know what I'm saying? He's, for the most part, he said the same thing that I've been saying. I find it interesting though, that the streets, quote unquote, they just come up with their own thing. You know what I mean?
Shit that seem very Fed-like. DJ Vlad said something today which is very, very, very true. And obviously it's gonna be a lot of selective politics. Oh, they put out another clip on me today? Yeah. It's gonna be a lot of selective politics because we do like Gunna. But Vlad made some tweets, and I just want to read it real quick because this is how I'm looking at it. I don't give a fuck if
So now again, this right here, this should be proof that the only reason why Vlad gets involved in this stuff is to add fuel to the fire and to see people get hurt. So again, the world is correct because people continue to utilize this rat's platform, and everybody sees what happens with people that deal with him, and they just continue to deal with him. It's the same situation with Skip and Shannon Sharp. You know what I'm saying? Your boy is about to, as soon as I get done with this live stream, I'm about to drop a video about Skip and Shannon Sharp because Skip came out with a statement. The world is correct. People choose not to review and acknowledge their mistakes and learn from their mistakes. People continuing to do stuff like that, Tarek. Vlad is one of those folks. Facts. They still doing it today, Tarek. You saw DJ Academics just said he just did a interview with him. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man KO Kid Fit. Look at your boy Academics up here tooting up. You know what I'm saying? Academics up here tooting up for them folks, as always. He about to be, if you guys haven't seen my man Grind and Motivate's most recent video, make sure you guys subscribe to his channel. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how you get into a beef with Saucy Santana. Somehow Academics managed to do that. And let's not make no mistake. Vlad is indeed one of those folks. But DJ Academics is no different. You know what I'm saying? He's no different. They're the same person. You know what I'm saying?
If about the snitch label, but let me see. He said this. He says, here's my take on the Gunna thing, right? And by the way, I agree with Vlad on this. He said, here's my take on the Gunna thing. He said, in exchange for him getting out, and by the way, the notion that Gunna just got out.
So now here's my question, right? Like Vlad just decided to wake up and be a lawyer. I'm just going to, knowing that all this heat is on Gunna, this is going to be my contribution to quote unquote the culture today. I'm just going to tweet this. What do you guys think? What was Vlad's point of doing this? That's my question.
In exchange for him getting out. And by the way, the notion that Gunna just got out because they had nothing on him. This is why I was arguing even with the lawyer for workers dude. Not arguing, but kind of, and I know I'm not an attorney. I'm not saying I'm an attorney, which by the way, he's not a criminal attorney either. But I'm just giving my take. The reason why I said they're not giving Gunna a plea just because they're like, oh, we had nothing on him. You could have at least kept the nigga in jail. And again, it's not that wanted. I'm just saying what the prosecutor's up. They gave 4 chances for him to get out on bond. The judge denied it all 4 times. They had enough to keep him in jail for maybe another year. Tell me when the prosecutor or a cop does you any favors that they don't.
Jay, what up with it, bro?
You get what I mean? So here's the point. Gunna getting out at this time on this plea, there's probably some type of transactional equity there. What did Gunna give? Hey, I'm not saying Gunna gave them information, right? I think Gunna probably asserted to certain information that he knows that he's involved in. But what it's like saying, okay, it's like basically saying me and 5 dudes go rob a bank, right? And I'm caught on the video, and they can't really prove it's me, but they think it's me. They don't really know who the other dudes are, but they need to start from step 1. If I come out and say, yo, for a lesser plea, I'll admit which I saw who kind of looks like me, that's me on the tape, right? They could probably use that information, which I'm now confirming to be fact, to probably say, well, earlier that day, you walked into a store with another nigga who was 6'8". When we seen all y'all run into the bank, you were with the nigga that was 6'8". The guy who you're saying that you get what I mean? So it's one of those type of.
So like, see, I actually agree with what Academics is saying. Like, he's actually right. Right, I agree, Sari. And honestly, despite the fact that I don't like Vlad, his tweet is actually, in my opinion, pretty accurate. It's just pay very close attention. Like, oh, okay, you decide to weigh in on this, huh? Here's my take on Gunna. In exchange for getting out, he confirmed YSL is a criminal gang and said he was in a car with Young Thug when they found drugs and guns. and they didn't belong to him. This will likely be used by the DA to convict other YSL members. And if and again, what Vlad is saying is similar to what that attorney just said, and is also similar to what academics is saying, similar to what I said. Because they would not have just let him out of jail for free. That never happens at all, ever. Unless you're white. You know what I'm saying? No, you're not. You are not alone. Is Adrian Hicks alone? If Adrian Hicks is not alone, throw some radiation emojis in the chat. He says, am I the only one that can't stand academics nor Vlad, knowing full well that these folks perpetuate the very degenerate culture that the rest of us have to fight against? Facts. And then turn around and talk about all of us as if all of us are involved in this sewage. Facts. I agree 110%, Adrian. That's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons why I be roasting academics and Vlad. And while both of them sit there and make money on this degenerate culture, they turn around and talk crap about these people, and the degenerates still run back to them. We should call Vlad and academics profit from Pookie Incorporated, because that's what they do. They profit from Pookies. You know what I'm saying?
But things. I don't want to deal with this is Gunna snitch thing, but let me read Vlad's point because I agree. Gunna is a witness now, okay? He states witness. In exchange for getting out, he's confirmed that YSL is a criminal gang, and he said he was in a car with Young Thug when they found the drugs and Gunna, and they didn't belong to him. This will be likely used to convict other YSL members. That's facts. Having one of the top guys in the organization confirm YSL is a gang and that he saw the members commit crimes, and will probably be one of the main points for the DA to prove overall the RICO, okay, and charge one person for other people's crimes, okay? When he said that he was in a car with Young Thug and the guns were in his, the DA is one step closer to proving that they belong to Thug. I think that's true too. The DA probably has a reason for having him mention this part. Obviously, only people. And by the way, I love Gunna's music, right? So, the reason I'm not calling him a snitch because I really don't want him to get blackballed. Like, I didn't even want 6ix9ine to get blackballed. You get what I mean? Like, all of these people, like, they use and abuse the streets to portray mostly an image. And I'm not saying most of these guys ain't.
And like literally exactly what DJ Academics just said, he does the same thing. Like, bro, you do the same thing. Here's my question. If the degeneracy culture didn't exist, what would academics and DJ Vlad be doing right now at this current moment? Would they be making other YouTube content that people would watch? Would anybody be interested in listening to them? What would they be talking about? What would, if there was no degenerate culture, you know what I'm saying? If there was no degenerate nonsense, what would Vlad and academics be doing right now? Yeah, I seen that. KO Kid Fit, facts. Right. They'll be sitting up there tooting up somewhere, looking like they in a yoga pose. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't really street. But these guys are rappers, bro. You know what I mean? Like, they're entertainers. And if they were street dudes, a lot of them left it in their past, or they're dumb enough and they're probably in jail. Anyway.
Gee, did you hear him?
Lil Duval.
And they're dumb enough. So, I mean, like, this dude doesn't even have any respect for the people that he makes his money off of. I feel that. Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker. I get that. You know what I'm saying?
Pass, or they're dumb enough and they're probably in jail. Anyway, Lil Duval tweeted, "Nobody should pin snitch on Gunna unless Thug say it. But until Young Thug is free or sentenced, he can't speak on Gunna because that will be witness intimidation. That's also a fact. Since Gunna is now a witness on record in Young Thug RICO case. Now, I know some of y'all want to feel better about it. You can feel better about it and say, well, what if Gunna is going to do some shit like Kelsey's doing? Because Kelsey's supposedly the witness for the state too. Like, what's up? She got an immunity deal. She's supposed to tell on Tory, but she not. Hey, if that make you feel good, cool. All I'm just saying, one is a witness. That's a fact. You get what I mean? And still go listen to his music, but it is a fact. Okay, anyway, let me keep going. Oh, this is Megan Cuniff.
All right, so make sure that you guys smash that like button. All right. Make sure that you guys hit the bell icon twice. They got one more video that I want to check out. We probably won't watch all of it, but I just want to see what they're talking about. A lot of people are actually extremely confused about this. If you guys pay attention, it'll sound like you're getting different information from everybody who's doing content about this. Look at this. I mean, who would actually use this as their profile picture? You know what I'm saying? But whatever.
Okay. What are we talking about? Come on.
Okay, we saw Gunna's statement. This, I think, is far more interesting. This is his lawyer. His plea statement cannot be used in court against any other defendant. The internet claims that Gunna is a snitch. I don't know. I haven't been following this case. I haven't seen what's going on. I have no idea what is an Alfred Plea. But his lawyer says that the plea statement cannot be used in court. What the internet is freaking out about is in court, in his plea statement, he says, YSL is a gang. I was in the car with Thugga. We had a gun and a drug in the car, and none of that was mine. So if the lawyer is right that those statements can't be used in court against any other defendants, then Gunna did not snitch.
Do you guys agree with this person who made this little video? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. Let me know in the comment section why you agree or disagree.
Again, I'll pause this. Wait, where's the fucking paperwork? Like, we got the fucking paperwork. It don't say that your plea can't be used again. He can't be used in court. It does not say that.
They wouldn't have asked him for a plea if it couldn't be used in court. Why would they give him a break for something that can't be used in court? You give a break if you're getting something in return. So, like, that just doesn't even make any sense. Right. Terrence said the real lawyer said that it wasn't true. Right. You know what I'm saying? And like, this is just some guy that like made a TikTok video. Like, bro, you didn't even like go and look up any information or research anything. Like, just one of those people that's just gonna give an opinion based in nothing.
Hold on, let's put a see. This is where. By the way, the lawyer's doing what he needs to do. You know, he got paid millions to defend Gunna, so he's doing exactly what he needs to do. But let's just get technical now. Let's get technical.
So check this. I want you guys to do a little math problem with me. DJ Academic said the lawyer got paid millions to protect Gunna, right? So Gunna could save millions by not contributing to the culture of degeneracy. But like, nobody's looking at it like that though. So like, my question is, how come ain't nobody looking at it like that?
Cool. Let's get technical. We got the paperwork, so it's not like you can make it up anymore. Let's zoom all the way in. I'll make this bigger for y'all. Y'all tell me where it says your plea cannot be used versus nobody else. Nigga, why the fuck would why would the district attorney give you a plea that they can't use for nobody else? They just like you?
Exactly. I actually agree with what Academics is saying right here. Like, he's right. Exactly, Sari Lynn. Quid pro quo. Facts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like, you got to ask yourself, like, do these people, like, do they even pay attention? You know what I'm saying? Like, do they even try to make any sense?
They just like your music? No, motherfucker. They don't like your... No. They're giving you something easy that they could give somebody something else that's crazier. Like, let's be... Like, come on now. Let's read it. The defendant is a judge guilty or sentenced under the first offender conditional for the blah 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 da, 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 da. With the period of confinement, blah 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 da, da, da. Okay, upon serving one the service of of service of 1 year commute to time served, the remainder will be suspended. Okay, we're going through all the paperwork right here. Cool. We got to look at the defendant shall. Okay, we got to read through the rest of this, bro. Which DA is saying, "Oh, you take a plea, but we can't use a plea"? Like,
right?
It sounds good, but why the fuck give him a plea?
Right. What would be the point?
You gotta tell me, how do you get?
You have to. They wouldn't let him go for free. You know what I'm saying? Like, am I making sense? If I'm making sense, give me a thumbs up in the comment section. If I'm not making any sense, give me a thumbs down. But like nobody's gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? So like for these people to just think, oh yeah, they just open up the doors and let him go. Nah, that's not what happened. That doesn't happen at all. Again, like I said, unless, you know, we've seen some of those stories on Crimecast, but it's never anybody that looks like us. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, we saw Gunna's statement. This, I think, is far more interesting. This is his lawyer. His plea statement cannot be used in court against any other defendant. The internet claims that Gunna is a snitch. I don't know. I haven't been following.
So now check this out. Culture of degeneracy is not calling out this lawyer for putting out a confusing statement. Because clearly there's two schools of thought. One school of thought says, see, the lawyer said it, so it's right. Gunna's statement can't be used. Then there's the other school of thought that's saying the court wouldn't have requested Gunna for this statement if they hadn't planned on using it and giving him a deal. He basically paid to be released with whatever it was that the court asked him that he volunteered. You know what I'm saying?
In this case, I haven't seen what's going on. I have no idea what is an Alfred Plea. But his lawyer says that the plea statement cannot be used in court. What the internet is freaking out about is in court, in his plea statement, he says, YSL is a gang. I was in the car with Thugga. We had a gun and a drug in the car, and none of that was mine. So if the lawyer is right that those statements can't be used in court against any other defendants, then Gunna did not snitch. I don't know that this is accurate. This might be true, but does that mean that the prosecutor can in no way call Sergio Kitchens to the stand or otherwise use the statement?
No, they said right on the news that they can call him back. You know what I'm saying? They said it right on the news that he can be called back. Right. Gunna did not snitch to get out of jail. Not saying that he didn't snitch. Right. It's like, bro, what are you saying then? And that's a fact. They offer you something, you can take it or leave it. Right. All of this was choice. All of this was voluntary. And it was also a choice to do and be engaged in and make the music that landed you here as well. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't know.
That's cap. We just read it. Can't call Sergio Kitchens. Nigga, zoom in. If called by any party in the case, you will testify truthfully. If called by any party in the case, you will testify truthfully.
There it is right there. So like now my thing is that, do you think they have plans to call him for the case? If you guys think that they have plans to call him for the case, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't think that they have plans to call him for the case, give me a thumbs down. If you ask me, it just seems logical that they would not have offered that to him if they didn't have plans to utilize him later on. So basically what's going on is my guy, you're getting Tommy Bunsed. You remember Belly, what they did to DMX, Tommy Buns? That's what's going on right now. Gunna out here in that Tommy Buns type situation. You know what I'm saying?
Nigga, what we talking about right now?
Okay, we saw Gunna's statement. This, I think, is far more interesting. This is his lawyer.
Right. So now here's my question. How come street culture don't turn around and ask his lawyer, why are you out here telling people that what Gunna's doing can be done and him not being considered a snitch. Because by the lawyer putting this information out there, don't you think that other criminals who get caught will attempt to use the same techniques as Gunna and say, see, Gunna didn't snitch, but everybody's looking at that as a snitch. So why are you not talking about the dangers of what's going on?
His plea statement cannot be used in court against any other defendant. The internet claims that Gunna is a snitch. I don't know. I haven't been following this case. I haven't seen what's going on. I have no idea what is an Alfred Plea. But his lawyer says that the plea statement cannot be used in court. What the internet is freaking out about is in court, in his plea statement, he says YSL is a gang. I was in the car with Thugga. We had a gun and a drug in the car, and none of that was mine. So if the lawyer...
So if none of it was his and there was only two people in the car, what is that implying without it being said? What does that imply without it being directly said? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys have not, please take a moment, smash that like button. Also, if you guys have not hit the bell, take a moment, hit the bell. If you're not subscribed to my backup channels, take a moment, do that too. All right. And also, please help spread this message by sharing the video out.
Lawyer is right. Those things can't be used.
Let's be honest. I want to simplify this for even people that's been to traffic court. Has anybody in here been to traffic court? I know I got some certain people who have never been to court where, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, forget criminal court. This is serious, right? Serious stakes. Let's just go to traffic court. Anybody here got a license? Anybody call a speeding ticket? Anybody? Okay. When you get caught doing 120 because you testing your car out, whoop, whoop, they caught you, blah, blah, blah. Or you made an illegal U-turn, whoop, whoop, they caught you, whatever the case is. Like anything they caught you, you go to court. I don't know. Sometimes it might get serious. You might have to get an attorney. But even if you don't get an attorney, usually what they say is, yo, they don't do trials for this type of shit, right? They don't want to do trials. Yo, go talk to the prosecutor, come up with a plea. When you come up with a plea, so you're going to go, like now it's on Zoom. Hey, go to the breakout room and talk to the prosecutor. The prosecutor like, listen, this is what I could do. Okay, you're in a state that get points. Yo, we'll give you this and whatever. And you basically try to come to a deal. It's some reasonable thing that, you know, you're not getting off the hook completely, but you get lesser than what you were charged with, right? Something you could deal with, right? They used to ask, could you pay this? Or are you just trying to avoid the points? Whatever the case is, right? Cool. When you do that now, right? When you do that, and you now, the prosecutor is going to say, okay, you're cool with this? You're going to say yes. All right, cool. This is the plea agreement. We're going to submit it to the judge. You have to go in front of the judge to confirm it. You tell me, and maybe I could be like, oh, this is just different, Act. When have you ever seen in any, even lower courts, a nigga go before the courts and he's putting on record? They usually say, hey, what's your name? Michael Thompson? Hey, Michael Thompson. On August 15th, were you driving 80 miles per hour on Route 370 going blah, blah, blah? Like, you got to say yes, yes, yes. Tell me, when do they actually say, okay, but also, could you also attest that you didn't have something? They just tell you to attest to what you did, not what you didn't do. It's not like, hey, could you also state that you weren't going 200 miles per hour? No, they only say, hey, you're pleading guilty going 80. Why does Gunna have to say the guns weren't mine?
Exactly. See, academics is actually, he's actually on his game right here. He's right. You know what I'm saying? And what's crazy is that what academics is saying is actually very simple and is actually common sense. But pay very close attention to how people are just brushing it off and just only seeing and believing what it is that they want to see and believe. You know what I'm saying? We are living in a post-truth era, you know what I'm saying, where people only validate reality through emotion and they deny fact as if it's offensive material. You know what I'm saying? So that's just another perspective on this. All right. Shout out to everybody that watched the last stream. There was 10 comments left after the stream, and that really helped boost the stream. I got a lot more views on that stream than I usually do. So if you guys can, please, after the stream, make sure that you guys leave comments. You know what I'm saying? You can leave a timestamp at the particular part of the stream that you were commenting about. That really helps. I definitely appreciate each and everybody that came in. You guys are awesome. I got the best subscribers on YouTube. Let me know what you guys think, if you guys agree or disagree with my take. All right. Also, if you guys haven't watched the other videos that we've done about this, if you haven't seen TD Hip Hop Media's video that he put out on his channel, or the video on Just Talking with TD and Rob, take a moment, watch those videos, subscribe, or leave a comment, subscribe if you guys haven't. I will catch you all on the next video. All right. Peace.